guys, welcome back to another episode of the Whiskey Diaries. My name is Malt Lang, I'm going to be your host, and we're here at Death and Taxes, and today we're going to talk about our distillery, Scapa. Scapa is the second northern distillery in Scotland, very close to Highland Park. Highland Park being in Orkney, and so is Scapa. Now, this little tiny island with 22,000 people and 900 square kilometers produces some incredible whiskey, including Highland Park and also, as we're going to talk about, Scapa. Now, Scapa was created in 1885 and then actually just produced some 12-year-old whiskies until the 1950s. Then in the 1950s, it got bought by Pernod Ricard. Well, at the time it wasn't called Pernod Ricard, but it was part of what would become Pernod Ricard. And it was almost mothballed in 2004. In 2004, Pernod Ricard actually decided to redo the whole distillery and started producing more whiskey. They started releasing a 14-year-old Scapa that it was delicious at the time, but then in 2009 they decided to change it to a 16-year-old. All of them are aged in American oak. Now, Scapa is a very particular whiskey in regards to the fact that even though the water goes through pitted bogs, they actually get the water and then they transfer it back to the distillery to avoid getting it too pitted. So compared to something like Highland Park or other islands around Scotland where the whiskey is actually quite heavily pitted, this one is not. Now, after the 16-year-old version basically ran out, they started doing recently what they called the Orcadian release. It is a 16-year-old whiskey still, but they do two versions. They do the Orcadian, that is Skiren, that is basically just American oak and it's just nice and soft and easy, bottled at 40%. And then they do another one that is called this Glansa, that is aged in ex-pitted barrels. So barrels that used to hold pitted whiskey. So this one is a little bit more complex and it has a little bit more aroma, and this is what we're going to taste because I have a very soft spot for smoky whiskey. Now that will be basically as I said, the Glansa. Both of these whiskies you can probably find them online. I don't think Dan Murphy stocks them at the moment, but yeah, you can definitely smell a lot of the vanilla from the American oak and slightly smoke. When a whiskey goes into pitted barrels, they don't get a lot of peat per se. They just get like a little bit more rounded, a little bit more complexity, but you're not looking at something like Ardbeg or Lafroig or anything like that, which is just pure smoke. Yeah, that's incredible whiskey. It's a lot softer than a lot of other counterparts. At 40%, you can basically drink this like with anything. It's a great whiskey. A lot of vanilla. There's a lot of toffee behind that as well, obviously from the American oak, and a slightly hint of smoke at the end. So yeah, that's our short episode for Scapa. Hope you enjoy it. Slàinte pa.